What's up, everyone? And today I'm bringing a deck profile on my Magical Muskets. Now, Magical Muskets is an interesting deck to where the traps can actually activate from the hand thanks to the Magical Muskets. And it's a pretty cool deck and is actually a pretty powerful deck. But without further ado, let's get right into it. First, I run 3 Magical Musketeer Casper. Now, all the Magical Musketeer monsters have an effect to where you can activate Magical Musket spells or traps directly from your hand, which is pretty cool because it allows you to dodge stuff like MST, Twin, Cosmic, Heavy Storm, Evenly, and all that stuff. So it's definitely really good to kind of counter all up that back row removal. And each of them also have an effect to if a spell or trap is activated in their same zone at the essence of the deck where zones matter, then it gets different effects. So for Casper, you can add 1 Magical Musket card from your deck to your hand, but not a card with the same name as the activated card. So, for example, if I activate Desperado, I can add any Magical Musketeer card or Magical Musket card except Desperado. So it's a searcher in a way. Also run the 3 Starfire. Starfire, if a spell trap is activated in the same zone as itself, then you can special summon 1 Magical Musketeer from your deck. Next, I run Kid Brave. And for this one, you can discard a Magical Musket card, draw 2 cards. Also run the 2 Dock. Dock, you can add 1 Magical Musketeer card from your graveyard to your hand. The 1 Calamity, you target a Magical Musket card in your graveyard, spell summon in defense position, and Wild, which is to return 3 Magical Musket cards in your graveyard, shuffle all 3 into the deck. So this is your pretty standard Magical Musket lineup. Like, this is basically what most people run, and I say that probably is the correct amount. Originally, I dropped a Calamity, but I added it back just because I'd run into hands where I'd have a bunch of Magical Musket spells and traps, but no monsters. And unfortunately, you need a Magical Musket on the field in order to even activate the spells and traps. Next, 3 Ash, 3 Ogre, 3 Droll for my hand traps of choice. One really cool thing with Magical Muskets is that it's not really bothered by hand traps too much. Nibiru doesn't care. Baylor, laughs at. Bell, Crow, it's only really useful for against Phoenix Enforcer, which we do run. Droll can work to some extent, and same for Ash. Ogre doesn't work. Imperm may. Like, a lot of traps just don't really do too, or a lot of hand traps just don't really do too much to this deck. Also run 2 Lord of Heavenly Prison. It's really good for traps. Basically reveal it on your turn. It saves reveal into the end of your opponent's turn. And if you activate a spell or a trap, you spell summon this card from your hand, then you can reveal and set 1 spell trap from your deck, but banish it during your end phase, or the end phase of the next turn. The really cool thing with Lord of Heavenly Prison, it doesn't specifically say traps, it says spell trap, so if you want to set 1 of your Magical Musket cards, or if, let's say, you want to set a Fusion Destiny, you can do that. Also run 1 Dasher and 1 Celestial for the Phoenix Enforcer. Moving on to the spells, I run 3 Magical Musket Cross Domination. If you control a Magical Musket monster, target face-up monster on the field. Until the end phase of this turn, change its attack and defense to 0. Also, its effects are negated. I run 3 Pot of Prosperity. Now, while I would say you would probably want to run Extravagance more, since I do run the Phoenix Enforcer engine, I can't really do that unless you have 3 Phoenix Enforcer, then, run the Extravagance, but I only have 1 Phoenix Enforcer, so I can't run Extravagance in this build. But if you want to play Extravagance, I'd say you'd probably have to run the 3 Phoenix Enforcer, because Phoenix Enforcer is very crucial. Run the 2 Fusion Destiny. So like the one reason we play Phoenix Enforcer, more so to kind of help close games out, because one thing with the Magical Muskets, they really don't have a kill option. Kind of like Sky Strikers. Like, Sky Strikers, they'll just slowly whittle you down. But yeah, at Phoenix Enforcer, and it could just kind of put your opponent on a bit of a faster clock. So that's mainly why we run the Phoenix Enforcer, for the exact same reason as Sky Strikers and why they run Phoenix Enforcer. And it's also good, that too. Moving on to traps. I run 3 Desperado. Desperado, target face-up monster or face-up card on the field, destroy it. And you can only activate it if you control a Magical Musketeer or Magical Musket monster, which is basically all the Magical Musket spells and traps, unfortunately. Also run 3 Last Stand. Last Stand, when you activates a spell or trap card while you control a Magical Musket monster, negate the activation, and if you do, destroy that card. So that's your spell and trap removal, and the cool thing is it is a counter trap. So they can't respond to it unless it's with the Solemn Judgment. Also run the 2 Dancing Needle. Dancing Needle essentially can target 3 cards in either graveyard, banish them. So for those Grave Reliant decks, it can really mess them up. So it's definitely really going to be good against stuff like Phantom Knights mostly. Moving on to the extra deck. Around 3, Magical Musketeer Max. Max is really cool. If this card is Sing Summon, you can activate one of these effects. Add Magical Musketeer spells trapped with different names from your deck to your hand, up to the number of monsters your opponent controls. Or spell summon Magical Musket monsters with different names from your deck, up to the number of spell traps your opponent controls. So if your opponent has a bunch of back row or a bunch of monsters, you're going to be adding or spell summoning a whole lot. So definitely really good. You can run 2. Like I see a lot of people run 2 at this, but I'd just rather run 3. It's easy to bring out. It's really good. And unfortunately, its effect is only when it is summoned, so you can only activate it like 3 times, unless you have a way to like recur it. But in this build, we do not. I run the 1 Lina, just a generic light monster that we can go into. I do run an IP package, just because, honestly, add space. Main reason why I was considering Extravagance, because outside of a Max and the Phoenix Enforcer, it really doesn't matter what your extra deck is. Also running 1 Verte. Access code to help close that game as well. The Phoenix Enforcer. Also run 1 Abyss Dweller. Abyss Dweller can be pretty good because it can also kind of take care of Phoenix Enforcer in a way if it is in the grave. So, because Abyss Dweller, your opponent can activate cards in the graveyard. So, if you summon Abyss Dweller and then basically you destroy the Phoenix Enforcer, then they won't be able to activate its effect. Also run the 1 Break Sword, the 1 Downerd, and of course, the 1 Zeus. That's it for my magical musket deck. So let me know what you think. You think it's a pretty cool deck? Let me know in the comments, and I'll see you in the next video I make. Bye.